I'm going to hand this over to Craig here. We have a couple of other special guests on our webinar today here. Would you please introduce us to Keith Alexander and Randy Miller from the City of Decatur there, Craig?
Yeah, I'd be glad to, Jonathan. We're so thankful to have both Keith Alexander and Randy Miller from the City of Decatur, Illinois. And Keith and Randy, thank you for taking time out of your day to visit with us about the water meter and AMI system project that you had. And please tell us how it has benefited the water utility in the greater community. And Keith, you're the water production manager for the City of Decatur. And what all does that include, and how long have you been with the city?
Well, I'm celebrating my 33rd year with the City of Decatur this month.
Oh,
I've
wow.
been the Department of Water Management Director for about half of my career and was a division manager for about half of my career with the city. Also have been an active participant in the Illinois section of AWWA for many years.
Well, congratulations on 33 years. That is a terrific accomplishment. And Randy, you're the Water Services Manager for the City of Decatur. How many staff do you have available to assist you with those 32,000 service connections? And how long have you been with the city?
I've been with the city 26 years, and I've been in the Water Services Manager position for approximately 14 years. And I have 21 staff that maintain 531 miles of water main, three water tanks, and all the issues that come up with it.
I can imagine you stay busy most of the time.
Yes.
All right. Well, Keith and Randy, I am going to turn the presentation over to you, and if you will, tell us about the City of Decatur and what makes it a great place to live and work.
Oh, we'd love to. City of Decatur is a population of about 71,000 people. We are surrounded by an ocean of corn and soybeans because we're in the middle of Illinois. Archer Daniels Midland Company and Tate Lyle North America, which now is called Primient, they changed their business model and sold some of their facilities recently. Those two firms process all of that corn and soybean here in Decatur, and literally between 60 to 65% of all of our potable water goes to those two industrial customers. We also have some major manufacturing facilities that we supply here. Caterpillar Tractor makes the world's largest mining dump trucks here in Decatur. They're so large that they're shipped out in pieces and assembled at the mines themselves. Also, Fuyao Glass, which used to be a PPG glass facility. Fuyao is the world's largest automotive windshield manufacturer. They have a large glass plant here. And more interestingly for the water industry, Hieronymus Mueller, who was born in Germany, settled in Decatur in the mid-1800s, became our city's first water department employee. He was the city plumber. We hired him in 1871. And he was trained as a mechanic in Germany, came over to Illinois and settled in Decatur. And with his experience on our water distribution system, he developed the world's first drilling and tapping machine that we all know today is used extensively in water distribution and gas distribution systems throughout the world. Since 1871, when we first hired him, he went on to become an even greater and larger mechanic and inventor. In the late 1800s, he even imported a Benz car. So, you know, Mercedes-Benz is the car that we know today, but the Benz manufacturing company, he imported a Benz car, which looks more like a horseless carriage at the time. Anyway, he made major improvements to that. In 1895, he won the first unofficial road race in the United States and placed second with that vehicle in the first official auto race in the United States. Oh, wow. Mueller Company is still here in Decatur, at least portions of it are. They're wrapping up the construction of a new foundry for brass castings. They make many, many parts that all of us are familiar with, both in the water and the gas industry here in Decatur still to this day. Randy deals with, like I said, about 30,600 metered water customers. We're located in the middle of Illinois, literally smack dab in the middle of it. We're about 2.5 to 3 hours south of Chicago, depending on which part of Chicago you need to drive to. We're about 2.25 hours away from St. Louis and Indianapolis. So we're centrally located, have a great transportation system, and plenty of water for a new business and adding to existing business. I think we have a short video here that we're going to show.
People on the streets, music coming from restaurants, children exploring, careers blossoming, investment and growth, arts and eateries. Can you see it? It's a transformation. Risks are being taken and boundaries are being crossed. Collaboration, connectivity, innovation, rich with history and plentiful resources. Here, tomorrow is not just a possibility, but a promise. A success story in the making every day. Going beyond the confines of city limits and county lines. We are Decatur and Macon County, and we are limitless.
All right, so let's get to the heart of the matter, which is our energy and water efficiency project that we entered into with Johnson Controls back in 2013. So keep in mind that this was 9 years ago in terms of the costs and what we ended up doing as part of the successful project. So in Illinois, it is government agencies such as ourselves can enter into energy performance contracts. Ours was called an Energy and Water Efficiency Project or contract, and we'll tell you why, of course, as we go through this. So we entered into a 17-year contract with Johnson Controls in 2013. It will cost the city over those 17 years just over $23 million. Again, that's in 2013 dollars. We will have spent, and already did, $14.5 million for water meters and an AMI upgrade that Randy Miller is going to discuss with you in just a minute. We also spent $2.6 million on facility energy improvements that I'll discuss after Randy. And then we have a fairly large debt service of $6.1 million over that 17 years. Our operational savings, we anticipate an operational savings of about $23.7 million. That nets us over the course of 17 years about $500,000 in savings, in actual dollars. So as we're going to describe in detail all of the other benefits that this project has brought to us. We have made significant energy and labor savings because of this project, and we have brand new meters throughout our system and a fantastic AMI system with improved accuracy. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Randy Miller to discuss the water meter replacement and AMI conversion that we did.
Yeah, we have approximately 31,000, I think, as Keith said, 600 meters. Of those, we still probably have about 50 on the old system, but the bulk of them are done. This was basically a 3-year project that started in 2013, and as I remember, that year was one of the coldest winters we've had on record for a while. And so we've been operating this system about 8 years. And when Johnson Controls came in, we did some pre-testing and on some of our larger meters, such as in hotels, schools, and some other applications to get the right type or the right size. We transitioned from the old 1980s technology of the read-o-matic. We were aware we were having issues. As everybody well knows, that trying to get, that register the fire to the remote, and you get cobwebs in the remote, we knew we were having issues. And at that time, we were on a reading cycle of 90-day reads, and we really wanted to change to a monthly type reading, the catch, so we wouldn't go those 90 days where someone would maybe have a leak or whatever. Some of the significant cost reductions we had was on a 90-day cycle, we employed 2 meter readers that would read these 31,000 meters. And we were going to transition to the 30-day cycle. We realized that we would probably have to triple the meter reader number, or possibly even more, because that is a very labor intensive job. So it kind of came at the right time. We were ready to change to the monthly billing, and so getting on this automated reading system really helped, which ours is a fixed network from Itron. We were getting reports from Johnson Controls probably before the last 8 years, and they helped a lot in trying to analyze exactly where, if we were having issues with the meter or some reads. So those helped out a lot. Some of the challenges and successes, I can tell you, it was a 3-year project. It is a long 3 years, because you got to change from the old system to the new system, and you got to be able to make sure, you got to know your billing system, so it all, everything will work for the customer. And so that's about all I have on that at this time. Any questions?
Randy, could you describe how the meters were actually installed? Because they were not done in-house with our staff, correct?
No, Johnson Control, they, let me pull that up here. They assisted with the process of hiring contractors, and we had a local plumbing outfit install the meters, and most of our meters, of course, are in home, so that was always a challenge to get into the home. So we had to come up with a process to notify customers that it would be to their benefit to get these meters upgraded. They also, Johnson Controls also assisted with the process of selecting an AMI vendor. And I think we had 2 or 3, we had a choice, and we ended up with Itron on there.
Well, great, thank you. In the interest of time, I'll move on to the next slide, and people can certainly ask questions in the question and answer box as well. So our $2.6 million facility energy improvements were over several facilities that the city owns and operates. For example, 7 fire stations were involved in this process. The drinking water plant that I'm talking to you at today was also significantly impacted. Our mass transit facility, our municipal services center, our municipal parking garage, all of these were part of the facility energy improvements. Many of the improvements, again, this is from 2013, were lighting retrofits from fluorescent tubes to more efficient fluorescent tubes with electronic ballasts. Back in 2013, LED lighting was still fairly expensive and somewhat unproven, and we just happened to be in that niche between going with higher efficiency fluorescent versus making the leap to LED. Today, of course, it would be an LED leap, but at the time that was not the most cost effective for us. Doesn't mean we won't do it sooner rather than later, even though our contract is 17 years with Johnson Controls. That's something that we might want to discuss with Johnson Controls in the near future. One thing that's been kind of interesting is some of our T8 fluorescent tubes don't last as long as we expected them to. So we do have to, replace the ones that burn out on a more frequent basis than we'd like. But other than that, the lighting retrofits went very well. The HVAC improvements were quite extensive. They included chillers, boilers, condensing units, control systems, large overhead fans, building envelope sealing, etc. Many things over many facilities that I just discussed. Also at our drinking water plant, we did significant SCADA system improvements. We have a SCADA system that operates a fair amount of our treatment process. We did some major upgrades as part of this project, and some of that included monitoring the electrical use of the plant to try and make it more efficient in terms of how we selectively operated certain high electrical use components in our treatment plant. The business review services reports that Randy mentioned for the water metering and AMI system, we also received annual reports for the facility energy improvements. So they were great in terms of tracking what the savings were or were not, just like Randy was able to track what the impacts were on the metering system and the new meters. I can say that, like Randy said, we've had 6 to 8 proven years of savings, both from the water side of this project and from the energy side of this project. And so after 6 years of those documented savings, we decided this year, to no longer pay for the measurement and verification services portion of the agreement. I think this year's cost was about $14,600 to do that effort. And like I said, we had enough documentation that we were comfortable no longer paying for that portion of the contract. So again, just wanted to remind you of all the things that we did for this project. And like I said, we know that we are literally saving $500,000 in actual costs that we would have had to expend if we did not do this project, plus all of the major component improvements that Randy and I just ran by you. One other thing to mention, actually two. The first is when the city decided to consider these kinds of projects, we issued a request for qualifications and proposals. We interviewed 4 firms, selected Johnson Controls as the best suited firm for this particular project. We then entered into a project development agreement with Johnson Controls for just under $1 million. And that basically was a detailed look at what makes the most sense for us if we wanted to move forward with this larger energy and water efficiency project that we just described to you. And then if the results of that project development agreement were positive and the city thought it was worth the effort, we rolled that cost into the larger project. So the city did not spend an additional almost $1 million just to do the project development agreement. It was actually a part of the overall agreement. And then the second thing for agencies that might be interested in doing an EPC or energy performance contract like this, we had 2 routes to go. The state of Illinois had a model energy performance contract that we reviewed to use as the boilerplate document, and then Johnson Controls also had a boilerplate agreement that we could consider. In the end, our legal department chose the state of Illinois model or model for that agreement. But obviously, depending on which state you're in, you may have different regulations and rules regarding how you can enter into those types of agreements or not. So again, if you have any other questions, I know the time is short today, but Randy and I are certainly available for any questions that you might have in the future. We really appreciate your time this morning. And if there's any questions, we'd be glad to answer them and also turn it back over to Craig.
All right. Well, thank you, Randy and Keith. And we surely appreciate you making time in your schedule to attend the webinar today and present the story of your project. We want to wish you and your families a very happy Thanksgiving